You circle that one too?
I get impatient if people don't put their opinion in front.
I do too, but I'm the same way. Like, if I'm trying to like say something, I can't say it.
Okay.
And then I'm like kind of like beating around the bush, you know? But then when people do it to me, I'm like, just spit it out. So it's kind of like,
right.
See, I let them like the same with her. I let them, if they don't, for me, when people come to me about things and if they say like, I'm like, oh, how do you feel? That they're like, I don't know. I kind of understand how they feel because like at times some people may have emotions or feelings that they just don't feel comfortable talking about. And so I don't really get patient with them. I kind of just let them figure it out, and if they want to, they'll come express it. If not, it's their own business. You know, like I don't mind.
Caitlin, I think you said something very interesting when you said, but sometimes I do that. And there's a reason that you do that because you can't find the words or whatnot. And again, that's making sure that you understand that not everybody communicates the same way you do. So if you're trying to come to, like you talked about that middle ground that you discussed, or kind of in terms with something, or to terms with something, remember that the way you come to terms is not always the way that they come to terms. So I'm glad that you pointed out that it gets frustrating, but I think a lot of people will get frustrated, but at the same time, if we learn these things about communication, like, don't get frustrated, it might not be that easy for them. It's very easy for me to tell you how I feel, very easy. But I've had to learn that sometimes it's not as easy, and sometimes people need more time. They need to come back to you again, or they need to just write it in a text message, right? Like, I don't know if you have any people like that. I have people like that in my life. If they can't say it, they gotta text it or they gotta write it, okay? Simran.
I picked number 8.
Number 8. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, read that one.
When someone gives you instructions and asks, do you understand? I say yes, even if I'm not entirely sure.
Anybody else do that? Anyone else? But you do that.
I do that.
Okay, so tell us why. Tell us why you do that.
Just like when other people understand, but I don't want to be the only one to not understand.
And how do you think that helps you, or how can that become a problem when it comes to communicating?
Well,
how can it be a problem? How can that be a problem that you're saying yes and you really don't understand?
because it can come up again and then.
Okay, it can come up again. Anybody else? How could that be a problem? Anybody else have an opinion about that?
You could, like, for an example, if we're at volleyball practice and you explain a drill and Simmer doesn't get it,
Okay.
and she says that she gets it, she goes and does it wrong, that could actually affect the entire team and having to do conditioning or something.
Okay, so your lack so your lack of understanding and not saying that could affect the other members in the group if you're in a group of something. Okay, what do you think about that?
I think that I should ask more questions right away.
Okay.
Instead of,
Do you know everybody doesn't get everything all the time, right? And just because you're that person in that moment doesn't mean that somebody else is not that person tomorrow or in 5 minutes, right? Okay, we'll take one more. Jalissa, number 10. Did we talk about number 10 yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have another one on that one? Okay, so now let's take all this. I just wanted to get the ideas of communication out there and talk about our struggles and where we're really good at. So when it comes to teachers, how many of you view that teachers as authority figures? Raise your hand or not, as authority figures. And so all of you view teachers as authority figures, but some of you said you have difficult talking to them, so which means you have difficulty talking to other authority figures. So I'm gonna give a scenario, and then I want to know what you think about it and how you would handle it. You spend 4 hours writing a great English paper, okay? Everybody here in English? You spend 4 hours writing a great English paper. You're so proud of it. It's like the best paper that you've written, and you turn it in on Friday, and you're like, yes, and they're like, we'll have your grades by Monday, and you're like thinking about it over the weekend, like, I wonder what I got, because I know I did good because I spent so much time on that, and come back Monday, and your teacher hands the papers back and doesn't hand yours back. And then you ask, oh, why didn't you hand my paper back? And they say, well, you didn't turn one in. what, right? So you're just like,
No.
Okay, so right away, what's the first feeling that you get? What's the first thing that comes when she goes, well, you didn't turn it in? He or she goes, you didn't turn it in. One word, what's the first word that how you feel comes to mind?
Anxiety.
Anxiety, it's a good word.
I'd say anxiety too, because that would affect my grade.
Okay, okay, what about you? What's the first feeling that comes?
I'll be mad.
Mad,
Angry.
angry,
Yeah, angry.
angry, okay. So now, how do you proceed with that? And I want you to be honest. If that happened to you, what would you say? Anybody want to go first?
I would probably go to the teacher either like not during class or after class whenever he or she is alone and say, like, I know I turned it in, like, if you have like an outline for it, show them the outline, like try to not be rude about it, but kind of prove that you turned it in and prove that it's he or she's fault, not yours.
Okay. Yadira.
I had a similar situation happen before grades came out.
Okay.
I had two missing assignments, but I knew I passed them in, and I knew I turned them in, and I talked to the teacher, and we looked for them together, and then we found them, and then we were good.
Okay.
So I did have to like hunt her down a couple times.
Okay. How did that make you feel when you had to do that?
It was a little frustrating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you had that similar situation happen. So I want to do a quick little role play with you. I just picked you. Okay. So same situation happens, and here we are. So I'm the teacher. Go ahead. What do you say?
Okay, so same situation.
Yeah, the same situation that I described.
Oh, sorry.
So you didn't turn it in.
Yes, I did.
Does somebody else want to take this challenge
Yeah,
on?
probably.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
You want to take this challenge on?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So here's everybody's paper, and that's it. So what are you gonna say to me?
I didn't get my paper back.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. You're like the only person that didn't turn it in.
Well, I know I turned it in because I worked hard on it.
Well, I don't have it.
Well, can you check again because I remember turning it in.
I actually checked twice because I was like, I don't know why she's not turning it in, but I already checked.
Okay, well, can you check a third time because I'm pretty sure I turned it in.
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
I don't know what to say now. I heard a teacher say that too. Well, did you put it in another pile or?
You didn't turn your paper in.
I'm
So
telling you,
you're actually gonna get a 0.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
But I turned it in, so it's not my fault. It's yours for losing the paper.
Oh, so it's my fault that you didn't turn in your paper.
Well, no, I did turn in my paper. It's your fault that you lost it.
Well, you're gonna get a 0, and so that's just what it is. I have to go to my next class now.
Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. I know that sounds a little intense, but believe it or not, people come to me all the time and say, they didn't listen, and I know I did, and they just said I'm getting an F. Okay, that happened to me today, actually. So what do you do in those situations?
I was trying not to get mad.
You're trying not to get mad, which is good. What do you do, Morgan? Senior, what do you do?
Yeah, you've been through this a couple times. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't deal with the situation the right way.
Okay, so how do you deal with it? Let's talk about, you said you don't do it in the right way, but how do you do it?
I'm pretty comfortable with all of my teachers because I've been here for 4 years now.
Okay, what about that teacher that you just saw me at?
I would probably give you attitude back
Probably give me attitude back.
very rudely, and
Oh.
then if he's still pissing you off, I'd leave the classroom. And probably, I would redo the assignment, obviously,
Mhm.
or I would come in when you're not in the classroom and look for it because I know it's there.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually, with missing assignments, I don't deal with them very well because rarely do I have missing assignments.
Okay. Okay. So Morgan says something that was kind of key in there. You said I would redo the assignment. Did you ever bring that up?
No.
Right. So sometimes, remember we talked about it at the what does it mean to be an effective communicator and how do you do that? And it's saying talking about the situation and coming to a mutual agreement. And that's what I was actually trying to get you to do. I was trying to get you to figure out a way that your needs could get met because as the teacher, as the authority person, you kind of figure, well, it's what they say, right? So I'm like, and I have to go to class, and that's what it is. So sometimes as an authority figure, you go, well, that's what they said, and I guess that's it, and I'm just gonna be angry, okay? But you haven't got your needs met. As a teacher, I got my needs met. I told you what I wanted, and that's just what it was.
Yeah,
but there's another person that hasn't got their needs met. Go ahead.
But, like, it would make me mad. Like, I wouldn't want to redo the assignment because, like, especially if it's an essay and, like, you work really hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you don't want to have to, like, redo it if it's, like, the teacher should, like, at least look for it again or, like, keep looking and say, like.
So what if they kept looking and they did not find it? Which is what I said. I said I looked the second time, and I re-looked, and I just got the papers, and I didn't see it. So I don't have it, and you're gonna get a 0.
Then I'll ask them to, like, extend the deadline or whatever.
Okay.
And have,
So
like,
now you're
assignments to
thinking.
make it up.
Now you're thinking about ways to still get your needs met. Okay. You have something to say here.
Yeah, I do my essays on Google Docs.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, like, I know I turned it in, but can I go print it again and actually, like, turn it in?
Right, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the moment of the issue instead of the moment of the solution, right? We get caught up when we're communicating with somebody about something, we get caught up in the moment of what the issue is, and we lose focus on what a solution can be. And so what you said is like, I'd ask her, can I, turn it in? Now nobody handwrites essays anymore, right? So you probably have it on a computer, right? And if it was something you worked really hard and it took a long time, you probably saved it. So you have to be able to provide a suggestion to enable to get your needs met instead of 1, shutting down, and 2, giving in because they're the teacher. Because at the end of the day, you're still upset, right? And then now you're looking at a teacher like they don't even care, they lost my stuff. So you had mentioned something, and you said, I'd be mad because I know I turned it in and they lost it and it's their fault. And remember what I said at the beginning? There's always 2 sides to a disagreement. So in my mind as a teacher, I might be thinking, what? Because I have a side. What would my side be? I want you to think about that. What would my side be? So take yourself out of your side. Put yourself as a teacher, like you're the teacher, and this person didn't turn them their paper.
I would look in, like, all the classes, and, like, if I still didn't find it, I'd probably say, like, do you have an outline for it? Do you have, like, anything to back it up?
So it was the teacher's responsibility to make a suggestion on an alternative thing. It wasn't yours.
It's kind of both.
Right. But see how when you put yourself in the teacher's position, then you were saying, well, you should have said, do you have something else? But when you were in Caitlin's position or the student's position, you didn't say, hey, I have it on hard copy, or I have it on my computer. Can I bring it to you? Like, I can call my mom. It's there. Like, she can print out another one right now, so you know that it's done, right? Like, you didn't say that, but you put the responsibility on the other person. And I'm not pointing that out to be, rude or disrespectful, but that's the whole idea, is that when we are communicating with somebody, we are always looking at things only from our perspective and not knowing that there's another side. Like when we go to the movies, there's not another side if we agree on the same movie. But if we have different movies, then there's somebody else has another opinion about something, okay? So instead of getting upset and frustrated and angry, you have to realize that they have a need that they want to be met, and there's their side. Does that help? Does that feel like that would help you to kind of take a deep breath? If you go, okay, they have an opinion about something too. They could be upset about something too. Because it's not all about us all the time, and we have to communicate and get our needs met though, but we have to understand that somebody else wants their needs met as well. Simran, what would you do in a similar situation?
I had that happen to me before.
Okay, I like those. I had that happen to me before.
In middle school, my teacher lost like all my assignments. I had an F, and grades were due like that day. So I told him to like.
No, you didn't have enough.
Oh, really? Is that F? And I was like, ooh, that's not good. And then I told him to look for them, and then he's like, you look for them yourself in your backpack first. And then I looked, and they weren't there because I turned them in. And then he told me to look in all his periods, and then I found my papers. And I was like,
Okay.
felt relieved, like I turned those in.
Okay. So in that situation, the teacher gave, like Caitlin said, an alternative thing, like, hey, you look in the other periods. And when you're communicating with someone and you have a need that you need to get met, you have to think outside the box, or you have to think of other ways to get that need met. So you want your papers to be accounted for. And so that also could be something that you said, like, well, can I look in all the other periods to make sure they didn't get mixed up? But sometimes when we are upset and we're angry, we're frustrated about that situation, we kind of can't think about what else can be done to have a solution.
I think that's me, because I instantly get mad.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody tells me, like, oh, you have an F, I'm like, what? Like, I look at them like, nuh-uh. Like, in Wilkinson's class, like, we did this essay thing, and, like, I turned it in, and you have to, like, keep turning it in until you get how many points you want on it. And at first I got a 30, and I was like, I got a 30 out of 100.
Okay.
And so I'm, like, getting all mad, and so I go to, like, talk to him in class, and he's like, I said, okay, well, I corrected some of it, like, can you look on it, because it's on Google Docs. And he was like, well, I have other stuff to do right now. I said, okay, but I'm not going to be home tonight to check it. So can you, like, look at it and tell me, so, because I have a hard copy of it, so I can, like, and he was like, I'll do it tonight, and you can do it whenever you get back home and all that. And I was like, but I want to know if I did it right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I, like, replied to one of the comments, like, I'll talk to you about it in class, about what I did on this paper. And he was like, yeah, I'll look at it, I don't have time right now. Which I understand, because he had, like, a lot of essays.
Right.
But I was like, I'm here right now, like, I want to know, but it's okay, because I had other stuff to do in that class. But I was like, it's right there, just click on it.
And so what is Caitlin doing when she's in that moment? Like, does anybody notice kind of what she's doing? Like, Caitlin's worried about Caitlin, and only Caitlin. And when you are communicating, you can't, I mean, I guess you can communicate with yourself, but that's a whole other issue. But when you communicate, it takes two people to kind of communicate back and forth. But you have to remember, you're not the only person in that conversation. And other people have, whether it's they have other things to do, they have a different solution, they don't agree, they have their perspective. But one thing that I haven't heard you guys say, which is really good, is like, well, you kind of said a little bit like, you're like, I'd probably say some harsh things, I'd probably say some rude and disrespectful things. And you're being very quiet right now, which is, I would love to hear what you have to say about that.
About what I would say?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
And
like,
why?
last year, I had Mr. Green, and Mr. Green is well known for losing papers.
Okay.
And so I knew that going into class, and I knew I'd struggle with it. I knew it would happen to me at least once. And I actually was eating my dinner, Mom was like on Aries, and she's telling me, you're missing like 10 assignments. And I was like, in what class? She goes, pre-cal. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I turned everything in, and he wasn't there for most of the first semester, so it was when he was there. And I was like, I turned all those in. Like, I didn't have them because he still had them. It takes like 2 weeks to give you back your things.
Okay.
So I'm like, what the heck? So I go to talk to him, and he's like, I haven't gotten around to them. I'm like, but you have them like in the grade book as they're in already. And he's like, well, I haven't gotten around to them. Like, he gave me kind of like a disrespectful attitude. Like, he's a teacher, I should respect that, but you know, I'm kind of heated at the moment. So I'm like, okay, well, my mom's gonna get me in trouble if you don't put those in. He goes, well, I'm not on your class yet. I said, I'm first period, you should put mine in. Like, I'm just starting to yell at him, and he's like being calm, which is really surprising me. I thought he was gonna yell back at me. He's like, I haven't gotten to him. I said, then can you take them out of the grade book so that they don't show missing, so I don't have an F anymore? And so like things like that, I'll be like, I'll give suggestions, but I'll give it with like an attitude, so then the teacher actually won't do it because they think I'm being totally disrespectful, which I am. But.
Right. So that, again, another great point. You said, I'll say it and I'm giving suggestions, but I'm giving it with an attitude. Do you want that to be done with you, or do we, when somebody says something with an attitude, do we not tend to be like, what? I'm not. Like, don't you kind of, even if it's something you can do, you're like, well, I was going to do it until you had an attitude about it, right? So that actually goes back to number one. It says, when someone makes me angry, I deal with them while still angry. So sometimes you have to take a step back and say, let me go through another period, and then let me go talk about this. Or if I'm in the moment and I know I'm not conveying my message the right way, let me come back tomorrow, or let me come back at lunch, or let me come back after school. It is okay to take a moment and get yourself together, because a lot of times when we're dealing with things when we're angry, it doesn't always come out the best way. It doesn't always come back the best way. But this is not just with this is with everything in life. If you're upset trying to do something, it usually does not have the best outcome.